The Australians have won the second Ashes Test, up 2-0 now, and it was an incredible finish. It was very much unmissable stuff last night. There was a lot going on, and we're going to get into all of that. Obviously, Stokes' incredible innings. He absolutely dominated tactically and just with his shot-making ability as well in that one. There was some issues off the pitch as well following the Johnny Bairstow wicket, which we'll get into as well. But sorry I missed out on day 4 yesterday. I had to watch my brother run a marathon. It took him way too long to finish it, so I couldn't even get the video in. But that's all right. We'll recap day 4 as well. And obviously we had the Australians batting on that one, and overall a cracking innings again to Khawaja, like we spoke about, and really came out with Smithy on 10, and they built a little bit of a partnership there with before the rest of the guys kind of did end up struggling a little bit. There was no one that got any big score in that second innings, but that is why there's such an importance on getting a good first innings lead, and that's exactly what the Australians did with a 90 lead, which allowed them to get all out for 279. Thankful to a few of the top order guys for getting starts, or with Khawaja getting the 77, just allowed them to be in a good position and have 370 on the board as a chase. And the only time that 340 has ever been chased was West Indies got one for 344, so that was the best chase at Lords here. So, it was always going to be really, really, really tough. And, the English actually got all the way to 330 or just before that before they were, all out and lost this match. But it's some good bowling from the England boys, and Brody with 4 for again, just showing why he is the class guy in this lineup. Anderson not showing too much in these first 2 tests, so you'd expect a little bit more in this one. There was a fair bit more for the bowlers, obviously in the air, but then off the wicket as well, and Anderson still wasn't able to take too many wickets. Josh Tong worked out really well. I think that bring in for them. He bowled really great, and had Warner on a string, that's for sure. And then Stokesy picking up a wicket as well, cleaning up the tail there of Hazelwood. So that was the innings there of the Australians before the English came into day 5 there with 4 for 117 or whatever it was there. So had plenty of opportunity to come out and really put a good partnership together. Just want to get into the wickets first of all of Starkey with his 2 at the start, and also Pat Cummins with his 2, and great bowling from Starkey apart from the down leg one to Crawley, but terrific ball, that one that just comes back in late to Ollie Pope, which showed Josh Tong was doing it the other way from round the wicket, bring it back into the left-hander, but for Starkey to throw it outside off it and swing it back, got Ollie Pope with an absolute beauty before Pat Cummins was able to get Joe Root with absolute rip snorter there. Big bounce. Got up right near his grill and gloved that through, which was awesome there to Warner at first slip. And then only a few balls later to get Harry Brook bowled with an absolute peach. Just showed that, the Aussie bowling just has a little bit more venom in them, and they can get those type of wickets. It was only really Josh Tong that was able to do that with the pace that he showed. And a few of the commentators were talking about that as well. It's just the difference in average pace between the Australian bowling lineup and also the English there. So they returned on day 5, 4 down, and definitely a chance of winning, but I personally said they were completely done and dusted. And obviously, welcome to the crease Ben Stokes on 30 odd and Duckett on 50, and he ended up getting the 83 there, Ben. So the drop, the catch from Mitch Stark on day 4, we should actually mention that as well, because that was disgusting that was called a no catch, that being not out, because you look at that and he's caught it 2 hands. He has the control. He takes off one hand to brace himself for diving to the ground, and yes, he maybe he could have turned his hand and slid like that, but it's not like he used the ground to keep that as a catch. And that's where the rules are, is that if you're using the ground in some potential way to keep you holding on to the catch, then it should be not out. But in that scenario, it's a catch every day of the week. I don't even know why they went upstairs, and they did, and they decided that was overturned. So not good on that front, but it didn't hurt them too much in the end. But Ducker went on to get 83, and he's showing his class, and seems to be his pull shots. He's getting a lot of shorter balls there that he gets to put to the legs, that he gets to hit to the leg side, and he's really taking his opportunity at the top of the lineup for the English, and I'd say he'd be there for a while now with just some of the great scores that he's shown since his return to the squad. And then Stokesy, the 155 was absolutely incredible. 9 sixes, 9 fours, and the partnership that he ended up having with Brody At one point, it was I think he went up to about 105 or so before he got out there. But Broad had 10 at that point and had only faced like 25 balls. So the way that the Stokes was able to manipulate the attack, the tactics there, I had Stokes at expert level on tactics and execution, and Australia were at about the beginner level for the most part of that. They did improve things in the back end with the ability to bowl that little bit wider, to play a little bit more T20 style, because Stokes was batting T20 style and Australia were not bowling accordingly. They decided to have every single person on the boundary, whatever, then just bowl short and continue to bowl short every ball and just bowl the same ball. There was no change ups, there was no Yorker switch up, there was no wider one, there was no slower ball. There's no leg cutter, there's no whatever they want to do out the back of the hand, something fun like that, just to change things up and get him, which they do in T20 stuff. If the guys are going pretty hard, all you have to do is change the pace a little bit, get a little bit more bounce, get a little bit of a slower ball, something like that to get someone off their rhythm. And Ben Stokes, when he's in that type of mood, Headingley 2019 kind of vibes, it was tough to watch, especially when you're about to go to sleep, having nightmares of 2019, but you just need to change it up in some way. And then the other issue I took with it was if he didn't take a run for the first 3 or 4 balls, they then wouldn't bring any of the field in. He then just had like literally open field. All he likes to do is get some type of pad or glove or bat on it and take a single and just get Broady up there for a ball or two. And I just felt that was, I didn't rate that captaincy at all, because just basically for an hour and a half that Broady was in there, he'd faced 25 balls and it was over 100 partnership. And it just got close. It was getting closer and closer, and they were 6 down, and only needed like 70 odd to win at that point. That I was watching just before he got out there, and if it went that little bit longer, and they get it down to 20 odd, and I was talking to my dad about it, I was saying 190, 200. If Stokes can be there and get that, they win. Like it's just easy as that. Obviously not easy, but the way he was doing it, he was hitting some big balls. But then, there's all those tactics I just thought were pretty poor. Like, you want to try and keep Stokesy on. If you happen to see the 4, then you have a whole over abroad, and they just never had that full over. They just had a ball or two, and then even some of their plans to Broad weren't great either, with trying to bowl fairly short to him. Yes, he got hit a couple of times. The ball wasn't bouncing as much as you would have wanted, so it's very hard to get those type of off the glove catches in close, and they allowed, they had a lot of players back as well. So if he did have a bunch of times, he had 3 balls to face. And they had a couple of guys in, and then very much a lot of space there for him to hit a single, rather than make him try and go over the top and sky one or something like that. Yeah, that was a bit of an issue on that front. And then Stokesy actually changed his game a little bit. He didn't try and slog. Just before lunch he was slogging everything and middling everything for 6. And then after lunch he changed his tacks for the most part. He was going less aerial as the game got a little bit closer and a little bit more in his grasp. He changed he was trying to make sure that he was going to be there. He did trust Broad, it looked like, as well. Sometimes he was giving 3 balls to face off Cummins or something like that. So, and the Aussies didn't change at all once Stokes changed. So, there's something there as well. So I just think Stokes obviously didn't get there in the end, but he was incredible for his 155. And you're absolutely watching history, especially if he was to go on and win that match. He probably gets 200, and it's one of the best innings ever in Test cricket. So, just fell short of that. Let's get to the Johnny Bairstow situation. Actually, can I just call him Bairstow? Every single person just calls him by his full name, whereas everyone else gets, you get Brooke or you get Stokesy or something like that. It's just Johnny Bairstow at all times. It's funny. Okay, for anyone who's ever played cricket in their life, I'm sure you've seen a wicket like that before. Not once has anyone blown up about it. All everyone says is you're an absolute idiot for walking outside of your crease. That's all it is. Like, why? Like, you just had a bit of a brain snap. Yeah, okay, I wasn't concentrating. It's all that kind of stuff. Like, I'd play even like under 14s and stuff. It's like, someone does that. There's not one player that's like, oh, you probably shouldn't do that. Like, it's just like, well, until the ball's dead, until they catch it and then pass it to a mate, or they catch it and they're like about to throw it back to the bowler or something. As a batsman, you need to either wait in your crease for a tick, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and then walk off, or turn around, pop your bat down, look at the keeper. Okay, he's not doing anything. Cool, I can go. In Sab Fun, he's just literally ducked the ball and started walking, and Carey's taken it and thrown it in the same motion. You could liken it exactly to if he's keeping up to the stumps to a spinner, you leave it outside off, you play and miss, whatever it is, and then he goes and hits the stumps. It's the exact same thing, except this game, he's catching the ball and throwing it at the stumps from further away. What? So if you leave the ball and if you slide out of your crease or you're out of your crease, can you not stump him? It's literally a stumping just from further back. So stupid, I think, that anyone would think that was an issue. Yeah, there's been obviously people have likened it to the underarm ball many years ago. I believe that was unsportsmanlike. It was in the rules, but that's unsportsmanlike. Yeah, that's not giving someone a fair chance to be able to hit a six with it rolling. So I think that's obviously that got outlawed and that rule got changed for that reason. There's nothing in the rules, even the English ex-English players, Mike Atherton and these kind of guys were saying that it was just it was lazy. He was dozing off. Well, they called Dozy a bit of a dozy. He was Bairstow. So yeah, I just thought for people to blow off by that, and then everything happened with the members in the long room, and they're all everyone's yelling out that the Aussies are always cheats, and that not one part of this was cheating. Yep, so you go back to the scandal in South Africa. In South Africa, they cheated. Yeah, that was that. And they got reprimanded for that. They got a year off. They lost millions and millions and millions of dollars for doing that. And what they do forget is Bairstow tried to do that to Marnus, and there's a bunch of videos circling around for 2 days earlier when it happened when he was doing that to Marnus to try and get him out. So it's well within the rights that if you're batting out of your crease or you just walk, you didn't even look back to see if he'd moved on or what. So well done to Kerry. And actually, last thing I wanted to mention there was the Ben Duckett dismissal, and that ball that he got him out, he actually moved a little bit to the leg side. Kerry did, and that was like a bit of a plan that they were going to just bowl it just outside the line of Duckett there, and hopefully only gets a little bit on it, gets some glove or something like that, and Kerry can get over there and catch it. It ended up being perfect. He got just enough on it. But him being in that spot, he wouldn't have been able to get it otherwise, and a good jump and a good take. So Kerry tactically, and obviously when he did throw it at the stumps there for Bairstow and to hit middle stump and be absolutely perfect on that front was great as well. And he's just had a great series so far. Very, very impressed with Alex Carey. Very impressed with Broad and his ability to wear a lot of those shots there that he got, a lot of the short balls, and a little bit of cat and mouse, and a little bit of it seemed like he was pretty angry, a little bit annoyed with the Bairstow dismissal. And being out there in the middle after it happened, obviously, he was getting into a bit of it like, oh, it's okay if I leave the crease now? Is it dead ball yet? Which is funny. But yeah, there's so much happening in this test match, and very strange for the Lord's crowd to be like that as well. But that's day 4 and 5 in a nutshell, guys. 2-0 to the Australians. I kind of, thought that this one would be a close one. We do know the Australians like to play at Lords, and their enthusiasm and their skill was on display in this one. And to do it without Nathan Lyon, who's likely going to be gone for the series, it seems like, was an amazing effort. They didn't really have much of a change-up in that second innings. I would have had a crack at Travis Head at one point there, especially when I think it was like 100 partnership, 70-odd, 80 runs to get. And I was like, okay, you probably should have changed it up a little bit. Greeny was getting whacked, and they brought him back on. It was just, that was the time just to try something. Obviously, right armour spinning away from the lefty, but they got away with it in the end, thankfully. Would have been a monumental loss if they end up losing that one from that situation, given they were 6 down, needing 180 or whatever it was. So that's that one, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. And we've got like 3 days off, I believe, until the next one. So hopefully Tom Murphy's in there. I'd like to see him play and against England. I think that would be really, really cool. He had a great series against India, and I imagine there could be one change, I'd imagine, for the English. Most likely one of their fast bowlers might come out, and they could change things up, but we'll see what happens on that front. Do they play a spinner? We will see from that one. So hope you enjoyed that one. I'll catch you in the preview for Test 3.